that. But then when they see that the loads that you're pulling is like a $1,200 or $1,500 load, and you're doing 3 or 4 loads like that a week, then to me, this is just me talking. They get a little side themselves because they only making $15 an hour, but you're making like $700-800 a week, and you're just driving. And people think it's really easy to just hold the steering wheel and drive. Um, but long story short, the reason I left them because they didn't know how to talk to us or talk to me. And so after a few, and I told you I got fired. That's what got me into the trucking.
Okay,
So
you did say that. So Kenny, I'm gonna make you laugh. We weren't live, so Tasha's gonna kick my butt. She's gonna be like, "What happened?" I never pushed the go live button, so spare me. So you, yeah. Wait, let me see something. We're probably not even on Facebook because Facebook will only allow you 10 minutes. Tasha's probably like, "You fool." Oh yeah, we're not even on Facebook. I'm sorry, y'all. We just was talking. Tasha's dying right now. So, nevertheless, I'm late. I was like, wait, I don't see anybody coming in. Why is this not? Yeah. Nevertheless, okay. So, starting again. Kenny is my cousin who. Kenny, I don't do all this stuff. This is the importance. I'm like, wait a minute. I set up everything. I'm like, why is nobody on? That's why. So here we have it. So if they on, they're gonna have to see us on YouTube. Nevertheless, so Kenny started his own entrepreneur business for a CDL license because he was I'm getting everybody caught up. He was working for a company. He ended up getting fired because he didn't feel like they were being treated equally or just being discriminated against. And essentially, he started his own company. Now start from there, Kenny. I'm sorry. Tasha is cringing. She's probably like, what is going on?
All right, so let me help correct a little bit. Um, I got in trucking because my last job laid me off.
Okay.
Um, and when they laid me off, a friend of mine told me about trucking. When I got in trucking and went through the training, got my CDL license, um, in exchange for them putting me through school and getting my CDL license, I had to drive for them for 1 year. And the cost of the school was $4,000. So for 1 year, I have to drive for them in order to complete the $4,000 payoff without coming out of my pocket. Within 90 days, I quit them. I left them because they didn't know how to talk to a 46-year-old. I guess I'm 24, so they talk to them guys any kind of way. But I wasn't going to do that. So I just left and I said, I'll pay you when I make the money because I realized in trucking there's a lot of money to be
Okay.
made. All right. So when I in 3 months, I still had to get 9 months under my belt before I could talk to anybody about financing a truck. So I got with another company, worked for them for the rest about 8 months, but that gave me a full year of having my CDLs. And then that's when I bought my first truck, and I became what is called a lease operator,
Okay.
lease on operator. And what that is you own the truck. However, you don't have the authority to run it on your own. So I still
Okay.
have to run under another company. It's almost like an apprenticeship. One of the things I've done is barbering. So you have those who have the master barber's license, and then you got those that just has apprenticeship. So
Right.
I had like an apprenticeship because I got my own truck. Now I'm not a company. I leased the truck on to a company called Snyder,
Okay.
and that's the ones with the big orange trailers. Okay,
Right.
and with Snyder is when I learned how to dispatch myself because they had the choice program. So you pick your own loads. In essence, I met a black lady, and she took me under her wing, and she said, "Kenneth, me and this another brother." She said, "If you're not grossing $4,000 a week, you should get out of trucking." That was our mark. That was our target mark. So every time I picked a load, one load may be $700, and I'll run that, and it may be 500 miles. I'll run that load. Another load may be $1,200. So about 4 or 5 loads, I've gotten to that 4,000 mark, which means with Snyder, and they was, check this out, Tammy, they was taking 35% of what that truck gross because I'm running under their insurance.
Right.
I'm running under their authority, right? I have a maintenance plan, but I have my own truck. So, and I'll tell you about that. And this is all going to come to the entrepreneur and ultimately, Tammy, the unity. That's the only thing we as a people have not tried. We've tried everything else, Black Lives Matter. We have not tried unity. So I would
Okay.
say Black Unity Matter.
Right.
So, so, so they take 35% of what the truck gross. So if I gross $4,000, you do the math, somebody do the math, they take 35%. But even with them taking 35% and I pay for my fuel, I was still bringing home about 1,500, maybe $2,000 a week.
Wow. Okay.
And
You
I'm
know I'm doing the
grinding.
math. Okay.
Right. So, I did the math. I was like, Dad, they taking
So
35% and I'm still making
they
this?
were taking $1,400 of your money. So if
Right.
you were making
And
four, they were taking 1,400.
okay. And then the remaining of what I was making, I paid my truck note every month. I paid my fuel every month and whatever maintenance I had, which I went to YouTube University when I became a trucker.
Okay. So
Because,
you were bringing home $2,600 a week, um, and that's $10,400 a month. That's good money.
but that's before I took out the fuel now.
Okay. So how much is fuel?
So fuel is about 1,200, 1,500 a week.
You said 1,500 a week.
Between 12 and 15, depending on how you got your foot on the pedal. I kept it at, 62, 63 miles an hour sometimes.
Okay. So that's we're gonna say so 4,400 a month.
Okay. Uh, yep. That sounds about right. Okay. So then, and then, my maintenance and all that stuff. But I went to YouTube University. I'm saying this because some of the guys, when we get into trucking, we don't like to learn what's up under the hood. We want to make sure the truck looks good, right? But my one of my cousins told me always know what's wrong with your truck before you take it to the mechanic. Because as long as you know what's wrong, he can't tell you, well, this is wrong, this is wrong. So I went to YouTube University and learned a lot while I was out there to make sure I knew what was wrong with my truck before I went to the mechanic shop. So they couldn't get. You're on mute for a reason now, right? Okay. All right. All right. So then
I'm
the
listening.
first
Go ahead.
okay, so the first 6 weeks, I got my truck in October. And the first 6 weeks, it was the middle of October. So right at Thanksgiving, I came home. So I was out 6 weeks strong for my first truck. I had a a warranty on the engine because the engine had been overhauled. So I was doing research to make sure I got a good truck. And the first 6 weeks I was out, I made enough money to pay my $1,200 mortgage that I had at the time. Um, I had a motorcycle payment, a car payment, uh, and I paid that up for I think 2 months for the month of November, December, and January, 3 months. So when I got home, that was all paid up, and I still had $10,800 in the bank running for 6 weeks with them taking out 35%.
Okay. So somewhere
So
in
I'm
your
like,
mind, somewhere in your mind, you were like, I want it all.
oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm doing it all. I mean, yeah,
Right,
I just gotta teach myself. I just
right,
gotta ask questions. And one of the things I'm gonna say, Tammy, one of the things that I've learned, I've been a member of the Nation of Islam since 1991, 92.
right.
And
Okay.
one of the things about being out there on the corner in the suit and bow tie, selling those final calls, right?
Okay.
It builds your character up that you don't mind asking questions, even if they tell you no, you keep asking.
Okay.
So when when I'm out of trucking, I'm gonna get the answer. You may not tell me, but I'm gonna get the answer.
Right, right. But that might be a family thing because I am nosy to no fault, and Tasha is nosy to no fault. And if there's an answer to be found, oh, I'm going to find it. People be like, I'm like, let me tell y'all something. I was like, I'll find Bin Laden in his grave. Let me tell you, it's not, there's no, there may be no, but there's always a workaround. So that might be and then
It
to
might
what
be.
it's worth, you guys, I'm sorry, I forgot to go live, so I'm not on Facebook. So bear with me. So you missed like literally the first 5 minutes of the show. But I want to say to you that Kenny is my cousin, and we come from a strong lineage of entrepreneurship. Our grandfather, no was an answer. He went to go buy land. They told him he could not buy the land. So he got his white friend, Roscoe, to go buy the land. And he sharecropped for himself. So entrepreneurship
That's
is
what
in
I'm
our
talking
blood.
about.
So no, there's
Okay.
no. Grandpa said, okay, it's a workaround. I'm going to give this white guy the money. And
Right.
because he was like, I'm
Right.
not sharecropping. He said it. You know, my mom makes a joke and I be teasing her like, you were a mafia princess. He sold corn liquor to get the money to buy his farm, and his 10
There you
kids
go.
worked the land. So it's in us. So there's no
Got it.
no. Okay,
Thanks for
so
that
that's
family
in you.
history. You're absolutely right. Once God put it in my head, I'm on it.
Yep.
Um, so when I did that, I'm like, all right. So then, Tammy, in May of I got my license in 2013. 2014 October, I bought my first truck. 2015 in May, I bought my second truck. Okay, and this time I had moved to another company called Landstar. And at that time, my nephew jumped in that truck. Now he had been driving for 11 years before me,
Okay.
and he just stayed where he stayed, made the money, da 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 da. But when he saw what I was doing, he was like, "Yo, I need to holler at you. Like, what's up?
Okay.
Yeah, all right, let me go get this truck. Let's go get it in." Right?
Right, right.
um, Tammy, that year,
Don't say
I
it because
made
I'm about to come get your bacon. Go ahead. You made what?
no, no, no. But you know what though? I'm gonna say this, and I learned this from Rich Dad Poor Dad. It's not how much money you make; it's how much can you keep.
That's right.
I didn't know how to keep it. Not saying I went
Well,
out
we
and bought
all,
boats.
we were young. All right. Everybody had their
Yeah,
foolish time with money. Okay.
yeah, no, but that's the whole thing. I didn't know, and I didn't go out and buy anything extravagant. But the tax bracket,
Okay.
I having to
You didn't
set
understand.
yeah, I didn't know. It ain't even that I understand. I didn't know.
Right.
So I started out as an LLC, not knowing I should have been S corp. And
Okay.
so I'm back at YouTube University again. Like, okay, there's another side of just holding the steering.
And let me tell you, nothing's better than experience, right? It'll get you every
Right,
time.
right. So the set that 2015 May, which is like the fifth month of the year. So what's that? 7 months. I
Gross. So Kenny's on the road. He's freezing because he's in a hotel room, as you can see. But
got it,
hold
and
on.
of course, okay.
Hold on. You
All
froze.
right.
Can you go? You said you.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
So I got into the six figure income at for 2015 of May, right? From May 2015 to December 2015 of May 2015, right? And I didn't know I was in six figure because I don't keep up with it. I just keep running. But when the taxes came around, boom, and I'm like, oh, okay. My lifelong partner, brother Calvin over in LA, we talk all the time, and he works for corporate and had been doing it for at that time maybe 12 years, 13 years. And he and I was talking. I was telling him, I'm gonna tell you. He said, wait, bro. Now you said you did what? I said, bro, my thing was six figure. He said, how long you been doing trucking? I said, I got my CDLs in 2013. He said, so in 2 years you got a six figure and it took me eight with a degree?
Oh.
He's like, wait. He said, bro, let me see. Can you will you send it? And I sent it to him. And I told him, like, bro, it's money out here, man. It is crazy money out here. But you got to hustle. So then he and I eventually started a second trucking business.
Okay.
And he bought the truck and I ran it. Um, but it didn't happen right away, but probably a couple of years. Well, actually, it was 2019.
Okay.
So,
Let me ask you this, and because now I'm going to deviate, right? What is so I know, and when I started, I'm sorry, y'all. Tasha is told me it's okay, but I forgot to hit the live button, so that's why we're not on Facebook. So nobody heard anything I said at the beginning. I said something about health being wealth, right? And Kenny is big, he's Muslim, so he's really big on health and eating properly. And just, I think that's something that we are. Tasha's very healthy about, conscious about eating. She's a nurse. I've never been like a junkie. I think I had some McDonald's when I was with Tasha, and I felt like I just literally ate trash out the grocery.
Oh my God. You had McDonald's?
Oh no, we're hormonal as women, so I get little cravings certain times in the morning. I'm like, I want a cheeseburger.
Oh my God.
I didn't eat that. So we're already health conscious. So Kenny, tell me, and again, Kenny is Tasha's brother. So tell me what the importance of health. So I'm going to talk. So wait, before I go, right? Kenny, are you frozen again? So Kenny's frozen.
No, I'm not frozen.
Okay, you were frozen on my end.
Okay,
so we're both freezing. Okay, so Kenny, like I said, Kenny's really big on health, but I just want to talk about the importance of health, right? Particularly with this industry. So I also have my cousin Brian, who's waiting to come on in a couple of minutes. It's 8:30, so I'm about to bring Brian in. And my prayer was that the connection would be made, because my cousins live in vicinity of one another and they don't know it. And some of them are into the same thing. And Brian is also an amazing musician. And Kenny's wife is all about music. And I did some work with her as well. Actually, that's how Kenny got back with her. But we ain't going to talk about that. He owed me some money. Kenny owed me some money. What's the importance of health, right, Kenny, in this industry? Because people say CDL, but nobody talks about the importance of health. What's the importance of health? Well,
it's really important. Before you ask about the CDL industry and health, I'll explain it like this. If a person don't like a dirty house, or if a person don't like dirty clothes, right? Putting on dirty clothes, smelly clothes, then just think about your insides.
Like eating your McDonald's.
Insides. Yeah, McDeath. I don't even call it. It's McDeath. And Murder King. I call it Murder King, not Burger King. Murder King.
I feel so bad because we would have such a great Facebook audience, and I'm like, I would never. Oh my God, I don't believe. But go ahead. So nobody heard my Juneteenth speech.
So with this health, at these truck stops, they don't have healthy food. They got all the fast food. You go into the stores, it's no health. Sodas. Of course, you're not gonna drink water. But I mean, I'm conscious of it. I buy bags of apples, bags of bananas, bags of oranges, and that's what I'm, getting my energy in as I'm driving, because you're sitting for average on over the road driver. You're sitting on an average of 8 hours a day, average, and that sitting cuts off the. Tasha probably tell you better than that.
How long are you sitting?
On an average, 8 hours a day.
So if you eating like trash, you're just gonna get whiter and whiter.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So you're gonna be trucks. You're gonna be truck size.
Well, but here's the thing, and this is the other thing. We don't really realize how much we use our eyes. When you're in a car, you constantly, your eyes is 24/7 while you're in that car. You don't get a chance to close them. Okay. If let's say you get on the highway 95, you driving from Newark, New Jersey down to North Carolina, your eyes don't take a break, right? So imagine driving back and forth from Newark, New Jersey to Rocky Mount 5 days a week, and you get a 10-hour break, of course, but then you're sleeping in the car or you're sleeping in the truck. It ain't like when it's time to get up and go to the bathroom, you got to put clothes on and go into the truck stop, use the bathroom, then come back out, get back in the truck, take things off. If it's raining, you still got to go. If it's cold, you still got to go. So
Mhm.
it is a lifestyle.
Okay.
So to counter that is the health, putting the right things in your body because it's crucial. It is really crucial.
Okay.
I've seen
But don't
truck
you have
drivers
to
get out of their
go
I've
ahead? I'm
seen
sorry.
truck drivers get out of their truck and the way they walk is though they still molded to the chair.
Dun,
I
dun,
kid
dun,
you not.
dun. Really?
Even myself, I have to stretch. I have to stretch or my hips will start hurting. Everything. You have to take
Right.
vitamins. You have to find out what you need
You
to
have
put in
to
your
take it,
body
and
because
don't you have to pass a certain amount of physical tests
a
every year? Because I
DOT,
know Dad had to do so with the CDL.
right? It's called a medical DOT exam, and
Okay.
you check your blood pressure, they check your sugar, you do strength tests, you do bends, you do how far can you turn your head left and right. You do these things. It's a simple physical. It's not in depth, but it's enough to determine whether you're fit to drive. And if you're not fit to drive, then they'll give you a year.
Okay.
Normally, if you're fit, they'll give you a 2-year pass. But if
Okay.
something's going on, if your blood pressure is high, they'll give you a year or 6 months and then come back.
Now there's another question I have for you. Don't you have to rest? Like if you can't drive but so many hours straight, and if you
Right,
don't rest, you get fined or something. Correct?
right. It's called hours of service.
Okay.
Hours of service where you could drive 11 hours a day. That's the most you can drive. The
Okay.
most you can work is 14 hours a day.
Okay.
And what they count as work is if you go pump fuel. You're not driving, but you're working.
Okay. Got it.
What they
Okay.
call work is if you're inspecting your truck. You're not driving, but you're inspecting your truck.
Okay.
So you got 14-hour work day, and within that 14 hours, you can drive 11 hours of that.
Okay.
And you
So
have to take a 30-minute break after the first 4 hours,
okay.
and before the first 8 hours, you have to take a 30-minute break.
Okay. So I have so Tasha has a question. I don't believe I really. How much is the average to get a truck on the road?
Good
I don't.
question. You want me to answer that?
Mhm.
Okay, so a truck that goes over the road, and I specify a truck that goes over the road because our cousin, his truck doesn't go over the road. It's local cement. I think that's what you mentioned.
Yeah.
But a truck to go over the road is going to run you anywhere from 20 to $35,000.
A
Okay.
year. Or
No,
what
no,
do you
no,
mean for
no, no.
purchase?
The cost of the truck,
The cost. Okay.
the cost, yeah, the cost of the truck. Um, Now, keep in mind these engines are built to have to do any major overhaul as long as you take care of the engine.
Okay.
So you may buy a truck that has 350,000 miles on it, but it still has another 650,000 miles to go as long as that truck was taken care of for those
Okay.
350,000 miles.
Like a car, like we were talking about.
Right, right.
Right.
Except
So it's not the
this truck,
mileage; it's the maintenance that you do on the truck.
yes. As long as you do the maintenance, you'll get the miles. That's what it's. As long as you
Okay.
keep the fluids changed every. Now the big companies they change it every 25, 30,000 miles. I
Okay.
was told when I first got into it, change it every 10 to 12,000 miles.
Here go Michael with his Uber life driving. He's crazy. You know, my brother always got some crazy ass comments. Hi, Michael. Sorry I didn't go live on Facebook. Tasha's not here. I'm a little off, but go ahead. Okay, Kitty. Okay.
So I change my oil every 10 to 12,000 miles, no more than 15,000 miles, which came out to be one oil change a month. And
Okay.
depending on the type of oil change and the type of engine, oil change can run you anywhere from $380 to $600 for an oil change. And that's where you're making money, but it's going to cost you money
Yeah,
to
I
make
mean,
that money. You see what I'm saying?
that you got to put in to get out. It's no, and
Right,
I listen to people all the time, even with me loving education. You got to put the time in. There's no, you got to put the
yep,
time. It's an investment, and anything you
right,
invest in that's good will have its returns. It may not be immediate, right?
right, right,
So
right,
that's definitely it.
right.
But do you have? So I'm gonna bring Brian in. So Brian is my cousin, Brian Pitt, and I love to call him B Keys because he's musically inclined. The guy can play a keyboard and a piano like the best of them, right? So Brian works for a corporation. He works for, he'll tell you, I don't know, but he does, he's a CDL driver for a corporation and he hauls cement. So I'm going to bring Brian in. And my prayer was that these two could connect and kind of make some type of, I don't know. You never know. But let's see. Hey, Brian.
Hey, what's up? What's going on? What's going on?
What's going on, Brian?
This is my cousin Kenny. And Kenny, well, I can't be telling folks where folks live, but Kenny lives in Rocky Mount. And so do you live in Wilson or you live in Rocky Mount?
No, I was living in Rocky Mount, but we stay in Enfield
Okay,
Okay. You said
okay.
wait, turn your volume up, B, because I can't hear you.
now. Oh, I thought it was all the way up. My bad. Yeah, we stay in Enfield now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's about it take me probably about 26 minutes, 25 minutes to get to Rocky Mount.
Right. Tammy, you with us?
Brian, give us a little bit about who you are. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you froze up
Can you
on
hear
it.
me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I froze up. Yeah, it's raining here. That's probably why I'm getting freezing. So Brian, tell us about who you are as a CDL driver.
I didn't catch the first part of your question.
He froze. See, everybody freezing. Is it me?
Yeah, it's you.
It's you,
Kenny?
Tammy. Yes.
It's me. See, I need
Yeah, it's you.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go out there and turn the satellite.
I know, right? I don't have a satellite, Kenny. I got fails. The ground is wet.
What was your question now?
I can't believe it. This is like okay. You can I can okay, go ahead. Because I couldn't hear anything. Am I frozen?
Yeah, you freeze it up.
Hey.
Brian, she wants you to tell, how you got started in CDL driving.
What's funny? The funny thing about it is, well, one, I'm a musician, been a musician for years. The funny thing about it is I was doing what CDL drivers was doing, but I wasn't driving. I was riding on vans, riding on different, stopping at different truck stops, doing, So how I got into it was for years, I was doing music. That was my income. And how I got into it was when my wife said she was expecting a baby. So I was like, man, no, I can't do music like that.
Lolo.
Yeah, I need something steady. So another musician friend of mine, he was like, well, have you thought about, getting your CDL? I said, yeah, but I ain't got time. I'm obligated. I can't just go to another whole state and, I can't really do that. So he was like, no, man, do like I did. Go to bus driver training, get your class B, and then,
Okay.
do it from there. So I actually went and got my class B, driver's license permit, not permit, endorsement, P and S endorsement. And the thing about the bus driver's class is the class is free, but you got to be there for 3 days. If you late or if you miss a day, you got to wait. You automatically are eliminated from the class, and you got to wait until that next class come back around. Sometimes the next class don't come back around to probably about anywhere between 3 to 6 months. So if you miss, even if you have a family emergency, they don't care about that. If you miss that class, that's it. You got to wait till the next one come back around.
Right.
So
And your wife is pregnant and you got obligations, so you on a clock, right?
yeah.
Right.
So I did the class, passed the class. You could come back and retake. They had 5 different parts of the class, but the test. So whatever you missed, they rescheduled you to come back, and you did it until you passed it. So you pass the class, your test score stays in the system for 90 days. So in between that 90 days, you got to go to the DMV, get your permit. Then they schedule you to get on the bus and take the road exam.
Okay.
So when you get on the bus, you got to do the lab, which is the braking part of the test. You got to do that. You got to do the pre-trip. You got to walk through the whole bus and tell them what everything is from the top of the bus to the bottom of the bus, all the way back around to the other door. Then once you get inside the bus, you got to tell them everything in the panel. You got to tell them how you're supposed to do the pre-trip in the bus by checking emergency windows and all that stuff. So you got to do all that. Once you pass all that, you move on to the lab test. Now, the lab test is the braking part of the test. Now, if that bus moves, you automatically, that's it. You got to come back another day and do it.
Okay.
So the best thing to do is just try to get it all done when you go, because you don't never know when your next time going to be to go. So passed all that. I drove the bus for about 2.5 years, and when COVID shut down everything else, I was through with bus because I went back and I drove, but the reason why I gave it up is they had procedures that you had to do with the kids, so you had to wear a mask. The kids had to wear a mask. In the afternoon, you had to check their temperature when they got on the bus. So it was a lady beside me. She wasn't wearing a mask. She wasn't checking the temperatures, and 2 of her kids got on my bus. And then I realized later, come to find out later, that those 2 kids tested positive for COVID. So I was through with bus. So after I stopped driving bus, I was driving a box.
This can't be happening to me. Like, this is like, wait, hold on. Kenny, did you hear him?
Yeah, I can hear him.
Did you hear him about to the point where, okay, it's me. Okay, as long as, so wait, at what point did you start driving trucks?
Because
that's what I missed.
After I got off the bus, I was driving box trucks for a guy that was contracted for Amazon.
Okay.
And I did that for about a year. And that was good. I mean, the only negative drawback about that is Amazon had certain times of the year that they're hot. And we delivered.
And I worked for them for 2 weeks. They crazy.
We delivered the post office. And certain time of the year, they have a lot of routes. Then when it falls off, all the routes that was normally on the day moves to nights.
Okay. And
I didn't want to leave my wife and my mother-in-law and my daughter here at night by themselves. And the Amazon will tell you that you got to be to their warehouse at 10 o'clock. The post office they sending you to don't open at 4 or 5 in the morning. So you got to sit out there in the dark. And sometimes these post offices are in the country. In the dark. You got to sit out there in the dark, wait till that mail courier or whoever, that postmaster get there, unload your truck, go to the next, that whatever your next stop is. Sometimes you have 1 stop, sometimes you have 2 stops. And now how they pay for the routes is they don't pay you for the whole route. They don't pay you per stop. They pay you for the whole route. Say like if you got 6 stops, if they giving you, some people was getting $80 a route. So if they got 6 stops, they're not gonna get paid $80 every stop. They go get paid $80 for that 1 stop.
So what led you to the cement company?
What led me to the cement company is the same. Oh, I forgot to say all that. Actually, the drummer that plays at my church, the church that we play at, he was driving for this guy that was driving for Amazon. And he just threw it to me. He was like, hey, are you interested in driving for Amazon? I said, I ain't. I don't care when I need to start, who I need to talk to. I ain't got no pride. I don't care. Just let me know, what I need to do. So through him and somebody else he knew, he told me about the cement company.
Okay.
So did the cement. Well, I'm still doing that now. But the first day I got there, did the orientation and went to do my training. That they pay you for training. So went to do my training. The guy asked me, "Do you know anything about
That's Tasha.
probably related to my wife people. I ain't got no family in." But
Okay.
went to do my orientation. The guy asked me, he said, do you know anything about concrete? I said, no. Only thing I know is when it dry, it becomes concrete. That's all I know. That's all I know. I don't know nothing about concrete. So, and it's the same thing with Class A because, you was talking about the medical card. See, mine, I got, a copy of it right here. And, yeah, if you pretty healthy, it's 2 years. And the lady that I go to in Rocky Mount, which probably all of us do, because I know it's only one. She'll call and well, I had to go through the school and do mine, but I don't have to do that anymore. I can just go straight through. So when you get ready, when it's time for you to actually get ready to go in and do your physical and all that stuff, she used to give me sheet, and it's stuff that tells you, like if you drink a soda or something before you come in, it might mess with your blood pressure or something like that. So
she gives you the instructions on how. So now you have the CDL. Where do you want to go with that? Now I know that you said you can't do over the road driving because you have Lulu and you have Tree and your mother-in-law. Where do you see yourself? So I know that you got the truck. It gave you the thing with your name on it because the way it sounds like Kenny went straight to trucking. You kind of stumbled into it. Just from different levels. Where do you see yourself going with your CDL?
Basically,
and would you like to be owner operator at some point in time?
I would, but I don't have the time because I'm so much into to music because I'm so obligated to.
Now, Kenny, do you have anything to say to that?
As far as he don't have the time, and Brian, I understand exactly because I'm trying to make time. Time is your most valuable asset.
He has a little person. He started like Tasha and James. He started late.
Right, and I understand that. But and one of the things too, Brian may not explain, and I didn't say anything about it. You have your class A, and you have your class B. Okay. Now the bus thing, that's a class B. I think the cement as well is a class B, Brian.
Yeah, you
and
can.
what that
With
means,
the cement, you can have either or.
Okay, but what that means is the weight.
Yeah.
How much weight you're driving.
Yeah.
So with a class A, your total weight is 80,000 pounds.
Okay.
With a class B, right? The class B, it allows you to drive up, I think, 34,000, Brian.
Yeah, but with my truck, I don't know how they sell unless they got their math wrong. Now, a concrete truck only holds, I don't care what size it is, it only holds 10 yards of concrete. And with a full truck, with the weight of the truck and that drum, it's 80,000 pounds. Yeah.
Then it's more than because
unless they got their math wrong though. But
well, no, Brian, it may be because part of the class, and it might be the same thing because it's like a dump truck then.
Yes.
Because there's no combination because dump trucks can get over there too.
Yeah.
So maybe it's more than 34,000. But Tammy, you know how you go rent a box truck, a Penske box truck when you move into 26 foot.
Right.
If you look on the side of it, it says maximum weight 26,000 pounds. Mm-hmm. Now you could do that with your regular Class C license.
Yeah.
That we all get at 16 years of age. But if you put one more pound on that moving thing, then you're supposed to have a Class B. 26,001 pounds. Mm-hmm. And so it goes by the class.
Yeah.
And as far as the question, as far as Brian not having time, and if he was able to make the money and still be able to be at home, which is very possible, especially in Rocky Mount right now. Because one of
Okay.
the things that I found out, Tammy, and here it is with this entrepreneur. Um,
There I go freezing again. I froze. Or is it Kenny? Can you hear me, Brian?
Yeah. Yeah.
So Kenny froze. Okay, I don't know what the hell's going on. Kenny, you froze.
okay, yeah, I know, I'm back. Okay, so you
Okay.
heard intermodal, right?
Hmm.
And intermodals are containers. Containers is
Okay.
what you see coming across the ocean from China, from overseas, and they pull into the harbor and they unload it. Those are containers. Just for the people who don't know,
Oh,
right?
right. My
And
cousin is a longshoreman, so I get it.
okay, all right. So
Hmm.
that that's in those containers is what you see at Walmart, Target, all these
Hmm.
Fortune 500 companies, right? For us to shop
Right.
on July 4th, on Memorial Day, Christmas, and all that stuff. Now that's a big part of shipping. That's a big part of transportation. And you either go to the port to get these
Right.
containers, or you
Okay.
go to a rail yard, the
Okay.
train station, not the one
Hmm.
that you ride Amtrak, but
Right.
CSX.
Like the
Okay,
the yeah,
right.
yeah.
And see, in Rocky Mount, Brian, I'm sure you know, in Enfield, they're building a intermodal rail yard.
Yeah. Matter of fact, we had to take some concrete out there.
Right. So now I had an opportunity to get involved with intermodal in 2019. And that's when I blew the cap off. And I still, Tammy, wasn't making what I should have made in that 2019 year. I found out
Okay.
I should have made triple of what I should have made.
Wait, okay, so I have to do James the solid, and James has a question. 1 second, and then we'll go back to that.
Okay.
What up, family? Hey, James. James is also a truck driver, Tasha's husband. They live in Durham. So, Kenny, can you give us an idea of the cost of all the permits that you have to put your truck on the road?
Okay. As an owner operator, getting your authority is going to be around $500 to $700 to get your authority, right? To get your insurance, they treat your authority as like a new driver's license. So when a person first get their driver's license, your insurance is going to be high, right? So when you get your authority, their insurance is going to be high because it's a new authority. On the average, you're going to pay as long as you got a clean driving record, you're going to put down probably $2,500 to $3,000 down, and then your insurance is going to run you probably $1,800 to $2,200 a month. Okay. Your IFTA sticker, which is your fuel taxes, that's free, but you have to pay it every 3 months or every quarter, and that's not a lot. It's based on your miles in the states that you've been in. So we're talking $700 for your authority. Um, and I guess we're not talking about the truck itself, but $700 for your authority. Your insurance is going to be like 20. Let me say $2,500 down, so that's 3,200. Your heavy highway use tax is going to be $500, so that's 3,700. So I'm gonna go with roughly $4,000 to $4,500 ballpark. That's not including the truck itself.
Okay. Okay. So, James, I hope that was an answer that you wanted or needed or learned from. So, back to where you were. You were talking about getting the opportunity, Kenny, to get in with the railroad folks, right?
The intermodal.
Okay.
It's called
Okay.
the containers, and they do it
Okay.
two ways. They do it two ways: at the port, the harbor, or you can go
Mhm.
to a rail yard to get these
Okay.
containers. And that could put you home locally because they run them short runs, but you still making money. So you're home every day, and you can run one container out and bring an empty container back to the port or the rail yard. So that
So,
that would be one way.
so you're saying to me essentially, because I be trying to make the connections, honey. There is actually a way for a person such as Brian, who has a whole nother passion to kind of stay around town, not have long distance runs, and still make the money, maybe doing something locally.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, Brian, do
Through
you
the
hear that?
through the
Because I need you
intermodal.
to be bringing home. right, right. So I need some information exchange here. Okay, okay,
Right. I see.
because
I'll throw this out because it's a lot, man. Like when I leased on the Snyder, I went out to a car lot, a truck lot, and bought the truck. A lot of guys would go to these companies and they would lease a truck from the company, and I've known guys to be paying $5,000 a month in lease payment because they
Mm-hmm.
pay it every week.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Yeah.
every week. But that's because they want the shiny, nice looking truck.
the stuff that don't
Okay.
matter. Can we get
Well,
some
right,
cargo in here? Right. Okay.
right.
You said they want
I
what's on the outside of the truck, not what's
and
underneath the truck.
not us, not what's under the hood, because that's
Okay.
what's gonna make your money.
Right.
That engine, right?
okay. Okay.
When you ask the question about how much trucks are, I said 25 to $35,000, a decent truck. But you can find trucks out here for 10 grand, 10 grand. You can find them out here for 5 grand, and they still get the job done.
Right.
The same job, these trucks can get up to $200,000, $300,000. But the same job that a $35,000 truck does, a $5,000 truck can do the same job.
Right.
And
Okay.
it just depends on what you're in it for.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think Brian's back. So I just wanted to say that, and like I said, with that intermodal, there's so many facets to that, and we haven't even talked about brokering, Tammy. We're just talking about holding the steering wheel.
Right. Right. So there's
And
so
that's where
many
the
angles to
unity,
it.
yes, that's so, and then after brokering, Tammy, we talk about warehousing. But because of the e-commerce and Amazon, most of the Fortune 500 companies are no longer owning warehouses storing their products. They pay people to get warehouses and store the product in there.
Mm-hmm.
I learned all this in 2019 in Savannah, which is the largest port in the country now. It's just so
Hmm.
much
It is. It is. So it's probably
warehouse.
going to be worth having a whole nother episode about the different angles of trucking. And
Or not even trucking, but transportation.
that's what I want to say. I'm like,
Trucking,
not
yeah,
truck. Okay.
yeah,
Transportation.
transportation. Yep.
So,
And
Brian,
hopefully,
mhm.
go ahead.
Go ahead, Kenny. No, you go ahead.
Well, I'm saying hopefully some of your listeners have connections, and it's just a matter of us bringing it together because it's too much for one person to do.
Right.
It really is.
Right. So, Brian, as I stated, going back to the question, I kind of stopped you from going. You said you don't have time. Where do you see yourself going? Would you, at some point in time, want to be owner operator if you could determine when your runs would go that would kind of accommodate your musical schedule?
I will look into if it will accommodate that. Actually, one of the guys I know, he plays bass, and like you said, he leasing a truck, but he's home more than I am, and I'm going to Rocky Mount and infield every day, and he's home more than I am. So I'm like, what are you doing with the truck? And he might like for a month he might go out 2 weeks. He might go out 2 weeks. Then the rest of it, he's home. So I'm like, man, what in the world are you going? Because you leasing that truck, and one, he didn't he went to what was the school? He went to Swift. He didn't stay like you said. If you stay a year, they take care of your tuition and all. He didn't stay. Six
Kenny didn't
months
stay
in,
either because Kenny's a rebel.
6 months in, he was back here in Rocky Mount. So whatever he had left, he had to pay that out.
But then
And
he went and got a truck. So
so
I think there's some things to, because so I heard a couple of things, and I heard something. Kenny used YouTube University, and I think what's worth saying is that it has to be a thorough understanding of what you're getting yourself into so that you can kind of miss the humps and bumps. But a lot of times people want to start here and they don't want to and I think even in most industries, you have to learn the ropes before you run it, because if not, it's like counterproductive, because you're gonna miss. You can't go from 1 to 10. There's a whole 9 steps you miss, and I think what people don't want to do, they don't want to sit under the tutelage of people. Kenny was enough, say, okay, I drove, but let me go to YouTube University. But then he was smart enough to link up with his friend in California, who kind of was like, okay, well, what are you doing? Okay, you're making the money, but now you got to pay all this money back. So I think it's worth saying you need to really probably hook up with how am I trying to say this? With the people that have kind of got some purple hearts and yellow stars, so you can understand, so that you're not being counterproductive, buying things that you're not using properly. Who wants a car note or a note on the truck and they're not making the money to cover it? That doesn't make sense at all.
Yeah, and then I did some research because somebody was telling me about getting in the truck, and I do my research. And,
right, and you have to.
Yeah, and I learned. I don't know if every company does this, or I don't know, but I do. I have learned that most companies, they don't pay you for bringing back nothing. If you got a load that you got to take to Chicago or something, and then you got to come all the way back to Florida. If you don't have a load, you don't have a trailer, they don't cover that.
Now, how does that go, Kitty? That's right.
And Brian, are you speaking about if you're working for that company?
Yeah.
And you have your own truck, or you're driving their truck?
Both. I heard them both.
Right.
I don't know how true that is.
Now, well, no, that's true. It's called deadhead.
Yeah.
It's when you're driving and you don't have nothing on your back that's pulling. That's deadhead. Yeah. Now, here's the thing, and again, you start out. Everybody started as a company driver, and then lease operator, which you went out and got a truck, or you're leasing a truck. Mm-hmm. Okay, and then when you put your tags on the front of that truck, you no longer belong to the company that put those tags on the truck, right?
Okay.
So you can take that truck where right, exactly. You done stepped up. You're still leasing because you don't have your authority. You don't have your own company, your LLC, INC, whatever. However, you got your own, and this is what I had to do. I had to get my own tags, because the lady told me, get your own tags. That way you can go wherever you want to go. Because with just the truck and nothing hooked up to it, it's called bobtail. You can drive it like a car. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And that insurance is like $234 a month just to have bobtail insurance. Okay. And then from there, if you get your authority, but I got my authority in 2016. I got my CDLs in 2013. I got my first truck in 2014. So I didn't become a complete owner operator until 2016. But in between that time, I got my own tags, and then that way I was able to move more. As long as you belong to that company, you have to do what they tell you. The only place you can get your loads from is from that company. You can't, if a broker got a load and say, hey man, I see you don't have a load, you're in Chicago, and they's like, yeah, I need a load. You can't get that load from that broker. Your company has to get that load. That broker may be paying you $3,000 to take it from Chicago to Miami. Mm-hmm. But when the company get it, they gonna pay you maybe $1,200 and keep the rest. But if it's me up there and the company say we'll take it for $3,000, I say, hey man, I'll run it for $2,500, and he'll give me the whole $2,500 because I got my own truck, my own authority, my own tax, my own insurance, and I'm paying for everything. And some people don't want to pay all those expenses.
Right. So then you got to link up with somebody like you and drive for somebody like you.
Either do that, because I can add you to my insurance. And again, Tammy, this is where the unity for me comes in at. Because these companies, you can take your truck to these companies and you'll pay maybe $115, $150 a week in insurance. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm paying $1,200 a month in insurance. So they're paying less insurance because they have what is called a blanket insurance. I don't know nothing about that. That's why I say it's hard for one person to do everything.
Right.
But they work collectively. We work individually.
So here I am. So I'm thinking of you who does long distance, but I also know that your wife has box trucks that she runs. So
Right.
how does
Right.
so and I'm big on healthcare insurance, right? So
Right.
how do you
Now, I'm
cover
not talking
healthcare?
health. I'm not talking about healthcare insurance. I
No,
was
no, no.
talking about
You're talking about. So, but I'm saying, so if you're like Brian and you have a family, your first thing is thinking. I know I would be. How will I cover my health care insurance for my family
right.
if I'm an
Right.
owner operator? Because if Lulu gets sick,
Now,
Brian gotta go be able to go. Okay, okay, I'm listening.
right. Now, for me by myself, I don't offer healthcare insurance because
Okay,
I'm just one person.
right.
But I have spoken to my brother over in LA. He's like, bruh, I know about the healthcare side. When we get a team, we could go out and buy. I don't know that part. You
Okay,
understand what I'm saying?
so you
You may
right.
know that part. That may be one of your people that's looking like, okay, all we need, and I'm just throwing it out there. If you got 5 drivers and 5 trucks, we can provide healthcare insurance. I don't know what it takes
What it
to
takes for
provide
you to
healthcare.
have like a company healthcare insurance for
Right,
what the number
right,
is. So
right.
Brian, and then like I saw, this is kind of what had me to invite you. You ended up getting your CDL, right? So they gave you the truck with your name, and right now, what did that entail? And
That
how did you accomplish that goal?
that was through the company.
Okay,
Because what it is, they they try to stay up top on their trucks, and every 5 years they swap out trucks.
okay,
So the truck that I'm driving is within that. It's getting ready to be, I think, probably another 3 or 4 weeks. They go swap it out, and so to kind of keep uh, their prestige, because they're a very well known concrete company around here. It was
okay,
another name, but the company that is based out of Raleigh. They bought the
okay,
company in Wilson and Rocky Mount. It used to
okay,
be one company, but they
okay.
bought it out.
Mhm.
So all the drivers at every plant that they got, and it's 8 plants, and every truck, that driver of that truck, that's this truck, that's his personal truck. So they put his name on it, and he's responsible for that truck. Anything that goes wrong with that truck, they know who to go to. They don't have to look at the number on the front of the truck because your name is on the side of the
That
truck. So
okay,
only thing they gotta do is go out to the truck. Oh, Brian, so and so and so and so. Like this morning, we had an incident this morning. We was pumping a foundation, and 3 trucks got in. But when I got ready to get in, the ground, they put some rocks on the ground, but the rocks were so cheap that every time the truck was rolling over, it was pushing the rocks further in the ground. So
okay.
when I got out there, my truck actually got stuck. And it was fully loaded, a full 10 yards, because that's what they ordered. So we was using a pump. They was using it's a truck, but that's got a pump on it, and you pull to the back of it, and you just dump your concrete in the truck, and
Right.
they pour the foundation because your truck can't get to where they pouring it. So empty the truck. They had to use a bobcat at the back of the truck to help me push out the push it out. So if anything go wrong with that truck, they don't have to,
They
they
know
go
it's you.
straight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
I
it's
thought it
linked
looked.
through,
I thought it looked pretty neat when I saw. I was like, "Oh, this is pretty neat."
and
So
it's
I
linked
guess
up through their
to
system too.
me,
It's
as
linked up
much
through their system.
right. So as much as you think you know about things, you don't know about everything, right? So you see these trucks, you see cement trucks, you see 18-wheelers, and and I always have these conversations about how we can put ourselves in a position to help other people. And we had this conversation maybe about a year and a half ago about starting something where people, the industry that I work in is education, and I work with the formerly incarcerated, but how we can bring people home and kind of give them something if they don't want to do an educational journey. CDL, there's nothing that doesn't get transported across this country without a truck. If it's a
Exactly.
cement truck, right?
Yeah.
If it's clothes, truck drivers are it. So I think they're one of the most discounted trucking and transportation. Is people don't think about it, but if that shuts down, that's how I remember a couple of years ago we couldn't get gas because I think Hurricane Sandy, and listen, people were freaking out. So those are the things we see and we don't have a total appreciation of, because if it's shut down, the world shuts down.
And see,
Right, right.
when everything shut down for COVID, where my wife works at, it's a warehouse that supplies Walmart, 7-Eleven. So
Yeah.
I wasn't working because they shut down the schools.
Right.
But she still had to go to work, and her days
That's
were
right.
long. I'm talking about she
Yeah.
had to be there at 9:30 in the morning. She might not get off until like 12 or 1 the next morning. And they had to go back at 9:30 and do it all over again.
Because even though, but this is the thing, I think this is when people had a vast appreciation for it as well.
Mhm.
As much as we were in the house, we were still ordering things online. Where do you think this stuff come from? Right, Kenny? Like,
Yeah.
so Amazon, you know, Bezos got this stuff on lock. I was like, he must be one of the most brave. But you couldn't stop, and that's all you could do was order from Amazon for the most part. Y'all laugh. That's the only way I could order hair. I was like, I gotta get my hair braided. I gotta order some hair online because you couldn't go to the store.
And actually, some of the mail now is coming through Amazon.
See what I'm saying?
Some of the mail
Because the U.S. Post Office, I hope I don't get censored for that. It stinks. Their service is so horrible. They be having you paying for stuff and it be delivered like 3 weeks later. But it's important, and I think that this is one of those industries that don't get enough shine and light, because if the truck drivers shut down, we gonna have some problems on Earth, right?
I necessarily don't want the shine. Just give me the money. You got the shine.
I know, but I'm just saying, we don't realize how much the trucking industry runs this earth in this country, and
it does.
Even right, like you get stuff from overseas, it comes through the ports. The truck drivers pick it up.
I'll tell you, I know when this pandemic hit, trucking went out the roof. And right now there's a shortage of truck drivers, a straight shortage of truck drivers, which drives the prices of the loads up, which I'm fine with.
Okay.
So it's almost like real estate when it's a buyer's market or a seller's market. But I know. I know one time it had got real crazy, where the truckers was like complaining. I wasn't complaining because I'm an underdog, but the ones that really get that money, they was complaining, and they put out a list that on like the third day, if all the trucks shut down on the third day, hospitals would shut down on the
How do you
third
think
day.
they were getting a mask? Yeah.
People would start dying on the third day. Of trucks would shut down.
So on that note, you're gonna say I don't want the shine, but that's the shine right there.
Look, I'm not gonna strike. Give me the money. I'm gonna get it to you.
But this is another thing. Even in the industry that Brian works, I keep laughing. I tell people all of our degreed asses was sitting up in the house. We was either working from home or you ain't had no job at all. So, right? Who was working? The construction workers pouring cement. Yep. Like, those were the people that I was driving, because every day I would go out and I'm like, well, damn, they still working. Nothing stops.
They know if the truck is stopped, it would be worse than the coronavirus.
even this weekend, well, we did pour foundations at. Now, last week we were straight, we were fine. Just this weekend, they already dug out 7 more houses. So it's always something. Construction is always.
So even in that, Brian, I know that your profession is music. I want you to begin to think broader of how you can monopolize off this if you were to become an owner of something in that industry. Even if it's like you're in the cement industry. All right, Kenny, how can we get together? You got the trucks. I know. Get something so that it can be, so you can leave a legacy and money for Lulu.
And see, with the cement, you've correct me if I'm wrong, Brian, if you know, but you first have to start with a rock quarry, right?
Yeah, or you can do it. You can do it 2 ways. You can actually get your cement from a company like the company I work for, because on their yard they keep the sand, the gravel, the rock, because it's constantly dump trucks coming in every 5 minutes. They rotate every 5 minutes. So actually, you can get it from a quarry, or if you find a company, you can buy it straight out from the company.
And I'm gonna tell you, Tammy, see, what we're talking about is world building. They build worlds. We just drive it, but they build in worlds. It's a huge difference. And Brian can't do it alone. I can't do it alone. Me and Brian together, there's not but so much we could do.
And it
But when
has to be
we pass by these big rock quarries, and they got these earth moving machines digging this up. Then you see the dump trucks going in. Then they pulling sand from somewhere, and then they make this concrete. All we know is we got a foundation on our house. We don't care where it came from. Don't even know how it got there. You know what I'm
It's,
saying?
it's two different sides to concrete. You have what I do, which is we do residential, and we might do like commercial, like for like a foundation for like a Chili's or something. That's what we do. The other side of it is DOT. Now, all the DOT stuff is mainly at night, especially during the summer, because once in the summer, once that, okay, let's just say like today it was like 88, 89 degrees outside. That drum is already at 99 degrees. So the hotter it gets, the harder it is to keep that concrete from becoming concrete in that truck. And see, at night it's cool. So the DOT stuff is at night because one, ain't nobody, it's not a whole lot of traffic on the road late night. Them pours are like 1, 2 in the morning, and it's not that hot. And then in the winter, in the day, the ground, it's got to be above 32 degrees for you to do anything with concrete in the winter. So you might get a call and say,
or it won't dry. Mm-hmm.
I might get a call and say, right now we go in about 6:30, 6 in the morning. In the winter, that might change. I might have to go in like 10, 11 o'clock in the day. So it's just two sides to concrete. It's the residential and the commercial.
Would have ever known.
DOT.
See, this is why I love learning, because as much as you think you know, you'd be like, I never thought about this. These are the things we just take for granted. But we're over our hour. I'm sorry again for not going live on Facebook. I'll do better next time. Tasha's like, it's okay. I'm like, oh, I forgot to put. I'm like, why is nobody coming on? So yeah. So if there's anything else, guys, that we could think about, because I think knowledge is power, and I think
There's
the
a
reason
lot.
why a lot of
There's a lot because we're talking about transportation, but at the same time we're talking about world building. That's basically what we're talking about. There's so much more to building a world,
right,
and we're
and
watching
everybody
it
can't
being
be
done.
behind. Right, and everybody can't be behind the desk thinking and pushing the pen, because even if we
No,
are,
because part of it being behind the desk is going to like planning board meetings in Newark, New Jersey,
right,
because you'll know where they're gonna need some concrete 5 years in advance. And so then you like,
right.
Brian, yo, look, we got to get this contract. Well, I don't know nothing about contract. Brian, either. Tell me, get the contract. Hey, bro, Kenny, we need to get some concrete trucks. Oh, Ritchie Brothers? They do auctions. They got, there was a concrete that shut down in Arizona. They got 40 concrete trucks they're going to auction off. Ritchie Brothers. I'm just giving you a scenario.
Right.
There's
I
another
hear you.
Iron Planet. That's another. They do auctions. Because of this pandemic, a lot of companies shut down and they just selling all their equipment. And they getting their PPP loan. They getting all this stuff to recover. They're going to get new equipment. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Oh, just change the oil. Put new tires on it. Let's keep rolling with it.
Right.
That's world building, but it takes unity, man. It takes unity.
And like you said, we march, we parade. Ain't nobody saying,
Yep.
let's get this bread and make this money, because marching ain't making no money.
Nah, we haven't tried unity. That's the only thing. We haven't tried unity. Look, we just eat oatmeal. They put no sugar, no milk, no butter in it. It's just
So I think that's what, and and it's so funny because I just had a vision of a bunch of us just sitting around the table like, okay, because I'm telling you, even with the degrees I have, I'm like, it got to be more to this than this. You can't tell me that this ends at I got a degree and I'm sitting on the job and I'm bored. Like this,
no.
And there's so much that can be done in an 8-hour time span.
Tammy, let me tell you this real quick, and I know we're over our time.
It's okay.
When I got fired from the jail, right? I met this black man, and he was a beekeeper. He had 600 beehives. I met him at the farmer's market. He had like 32 different types of honey. One of the honey was like cotton honey. I'm like, how do you make honey out of cotton? He said, no, the bees make the honey out of cotton. They pollinate the cotton flowers, use the nectar and the pollen from the cotton flowers and make the honey. And that's why it's called cotton honey. And it tastes different, right? So I'm like, yo, I want to learn some more. Now I'm fired. And I pulled out all my 401k or whatever they took, which was about $14,000. It wasn't anything. So he takes me out into this cotton field, 100 acres of cotton down in the south. You've seen it, right? But not while it's white. It's before it becomes white. It just have the flowers on it, right? He took me out to 100 acres. He had 80 beehives out there pollinating the cotton, pollinating the plants. And he told me, he said, with the bees on 100 acres of cotton, the bees will go out 5 miles. That's as far as they'll go out to get food. This was in July, so it's like 96, 97 degrees. I'm in a full bee suit, hot. And he said, on that 100 acres, if you put bees on it, it will produce up to 120 acres of cotton off 100 acres. In other words, you have a male and a female stem in each flower. Every time that male and female stem touches, it produces whatever that plant represents more of. So if those stems touch like a watermelon plant, if it touches, then that vine is going to produce more and more watermelon when it's time to pop out, right? So that's how it produces over up to 20 more acres off 100 acres. So guess how much he was getting paid per week per beehive?
Come on, Kenny, because you always got these astonishing figures. Let's go.
He was getting paid $80 per beehive per week.
And how many?
And he had 80 beehives out there, bee boxes, and they stayed on the cotton for they stayed on the cotton for 5 weeks. Do the math. 5 weeks, he getting $70 per beehive per week for 5 weeks, and he had 80 of them out there. And we went through every one of them, pulled out the queen bee, replaced her with a new queen bee, because that bee, the queen, she had to be very productive. And if she wasn't laying 14 to 1,500 eggs a day, she was only laying 900 eggs a day. Okay. So he said we have to replace her with a new queen. So we went in each one of the boxes, pulled out each frame until we found the queen, took her out, put the new queen in so that they could keep producing.
There's money to be made everywhere.
And then he kept the honey. They pay him to pollinate the field, and then he gets the honey and take it to the farmer's market and sell.
So what did they want? Just the screens?
Huh?
What was he giving them? The honey? What was he giving them? The honey or the?
No, he was giving them the bees to pollinate their fields.
Okay.
So that their fields will produce 15 to 20% more.
Right, but then he was keeping the honey.
Yeah, he keeps the honey. They don't want the honey. They just want more cotton.
And then he goes and sells it, so that's more money.
Right. Now go in the store and see how much a jar of honey costs.
Expensive. Honey is expensive as hell. A little bottle like this could cost you $10 damn near.
And he was selling the big jars. And it's raw, real honey. I'm talking strawberry honey.
I get the honey with the hive inside, with the
cone inside, right? Which is the wax. But he was selling Tupelo honey. He was selling cotton honey. He was selling blueberry honey because the bees was all on the blueberry. It tastes totally different. I'm just saying, man, it's a whole world out here, bro.
It is. You like it?
Yeah.
And we get stuck in one bag.
I would have got my bee certification and bought 50 hives with him. I sure did.
Hey, Kitty had pomegranates when Kitty had pomegranates.
I just want all of us to unite, man, and go get it.
So Brian, while you're laying and you're playing on a keyboard, I want you to think of something that you could possibly hook up with Kenny and do.
Okay, ain't no problem. Because
So my connections be very intentional. Like it's like, all right, but even if it's something, I don't know, something, but I'm a firm believer that you need streams. You can't have one thing, but streams also allow you to kind of dive more into your passions. Because streams say I'm getting 3 from here, and now I can go and play on the keyboard and B keys and be good. Because even if my finger break, I got 5 more streams of income coming in.
Yeah.
So it makes a big difference.
Yeah.
But Kenny, I love you, and we have some of the best conversations about money. Now we got to put this stuff to play. If it's just me and you, because I'm like, this can't be it. And COVID made people think differently. I know it for me. I was like, what was I doing in the office for 8 hours? Like, what I need to do that?
Exactly.
I hope my supervisor don't hear, but seriously, I'm like, what in the hell was we doing? Like, first of all, I always knew it doesn't take 8 hours to do anything. So I was never beat like that. But now I'm like, I don't know if I can go sit in the office for 8 hours. It just don't make sense to me. Mentally, like, what is this? In the insane asylum? This is like prison. So, But guys, I thank
Tammy,
you.
That reminds me, and we'll go, but Penda has said to me one day that the children of Israel, when they got free from Pharaoh, it took them 40 years to get to Egypt. And if you walk straight from where they was released to Egypt, it only take 11 days.
But disobedience.
And they was wandering in the wilderness for 40 years. It seems like I'm doing this on the 11th day. I'm not doing it 40 years old. We wandered wilderness for 40 years.
It's the truth. It is the truth, guys. It's the truth. All right. So, wait, what did Tasha say? So here came another. Kenny, I remember when I visited you and asked if I could help you get those bees back to their hives. The thought was just too scary for me. Oh, it's something you scared of, Tasha? Let me find out, because I'm going to get some bees and chase you. Anyhow. I'm still mad that I ain't pressed that go live button. I'm so mad at myself. But anyway.
You gotta bring us back.
I know, I have to. I played myself. Nobody heard my Juneteenth speech or nothing. I played myself. Okay, all right. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm not talking to nobody but Kenny and Brian. Brian's in the back, and I was like, oh, here go Tasha talking about I'm scared of mud. No, I just don't like to be dirty. I don't got time for that. Then Jennifer like, Tammy don't like mud. Don't like to be dirty. If I get dirty, I'm changing my outfit. But okay, so you've just been fine and tailored, minus 10 minutes of my show because we didn't go live on Facebook particularly. So we're on YouTube. So if you guys want to see this, you can go back and look at it on YouTube. And it's going to come in real odd because I didn't go live. I apologize. I owe my guests the biggest apology. But thanks again. You've been fine and tailored.
Thank you.
And I'll have you guys back for a full show. Where everybody can see it. Because had we been on Facebook, we'd had a lot more traffic. So I'm like, why we got nobody? Oh God. But anyway, I love you guys both. Share information. Kenny, how can Brian get in touch with you? Do you want me to send you his email, your phone number, or?
Yeah, okay. That's fine.
So that's what I do. Okay, so that's what I'll do. Okay. Brian's inbox me your number, and then I always make an email, a text exchange, and then if you have questions, just shoot it to Kenny. And if you start thinking of things,
and vice versa. Okay. If I got questions, yep.
Okay, that's right. Okay, so I love you guys. Family is love. Family is power. We just gotta sit down, and figure out how we're gonna make this coins, honey. Now you got me thinking about bees. I'm like, oh, so that's why they call her the queen bee. Okay, honey, she's producing stuff.
Yes, she's awesome. And 90% of the bees are females in that box. The worker bees. They don't play.
All right, well, it's been real, and I'll talk to you all later. Again, you've been fine and tailored. Minus 10 minutes of the show.
All right.
Love
Thank you,
guys.
Tammy.
Bye-bye.
Love
okay,
you too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.